Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well. Now, it's pretty flipping Baltic today and it's pretty foggy outside, but the weather forecast is set fair in that it's supposed to be clearing up and going to be a nice day. So I haven't been out for absolutely ages on my trusty Panigale. It's a bike that really is a garage queen. I don't ride it anywhere near enough. Today should be the day to take it for a bit of a spin. So let's hope the weather clears up. I've got to move the bikes around and hopefully we can get out on the Panigale. Oh, what a game that is. I'm absolutely whacked having moved the bikes around. Anyway, got the Panigale out. I'm now wondering, shall I go the whole hog and maybe try this old thing out? I say old thing, it's my one-piece leathers that I specifically got for the Goodwood Festival of Speed a couple of years ago when I rode up the hill with Tim Peake. Do you remember that? I've not worn it since. I don't even know if it will still fit. Anyway, as I say, it's pretty cold today, so I'm going to need some base layers on, but I think I'll go and see if I can squeeze into it. Well, somehow, well, with the help of Mrs. Fly as it happens, I managed to get into the leathers. What do you think? I'll give you a twirl. Pretty cool, huh? If riding a sports bike wasn't uncomfortable enough, wearing these while you're on it adds to the pain. Right, let's crack on, shall we? I'll see you on the bike. Okay, so welcome aboard the bike then. My first ride on the Panigale for, well, what seems like absolutely ages. In fact, the last time I rode it was to get it MOT'd. And when I got it MOT'd, it turned out that the amount of miles that I'd ridden it between MOTs was 100 miles. And 20 miles of that was to and from the MOT station. So that was a bit rubbish. So must try harder to ride the Panigale more. Unfortunately, as you can probably see, hasn't turned out quite the blue sky day that I was promised, unfortunately. Still quite a lot of fog around and the roads are still looking a little bit damp. There is still salt on the roads as well, so not ideal riding conditions. That's my excuse anyway. So I have actually got the bike in wet mode. Bother, I'm going to come out after this truck now. Just because I'm not used to riding the sports bike, and I don't want to come off, obviously. Wow. You have got to love a Ducati V-twin, haven't you? What an absolute beast. This thing sounds amazing. I know Ducati have gone all V4 these days, but I am one of those people that kind of ruse the movement off from the V-twins, because to me this sounds like a Ducati should sound. So this bike, it's an 899 Panigale. I bought it brand new in 2015. So what is that now, 5, 7, 8 years old? But it's very much a keeper. This is my favourite shape of Panigale. I think it looks absolutely stonking. So in case you're relatively new to the channel and you've not seen my Panigale before, let me show you around the bike, just to give you a little view of why I like this bike so much. Now obviously this camera, which is my GoPro, might distort the view slightly, but I just think the front end of this is absolutely beautiful. Look at that. It's got halogen lights on this one. I don't know if they're LED these days, they possibly are. It's got decent Brembo brakes and big old chunky forks, massive fairing down there, look. And absolutely beautiful. I think it looks an absolute winner. What I do like about the bike is the back end. This has changed quite a bit over the years, but I think that looks lovely, the way that they've done those lights in there. I think that's actually better than the current models. And yeah, a stonky looking machine. An unusual setup for the suspension at the side there as well, with the shock mounted horizontally like that. But yeah, what an absolute corker, eh? I think there aren't that many people that would say that is not a fine looking bike. Now, I joked about you know, getting the leathers on and how uncomfortable the bike is, but of course that is all true. I may have been joking, but these things are hideously uncomfortable to ride. I've got arthritis in both my shoulders. I'm 54 years old, not as flexible as I once was, and riding sports bikes for any length of time just isn't funny. I've only been on this 10 minutes and already I can feel a crick in my neck, so I won't be riding it for very long. But it is a lovely thing to own. I absolutely love having it as a work of art as much as anything, and I'm more than happy just to look at it in the garage. I do get a lot of criticisms for not riding it enough, and you know, people saying that I'm a rubbish rider and don't know what I'm doing on a sports bike and all the rest of it. And that's all true, to be fair, but that doesn't mean to say I can't appreciate the design and engineering in this beautiful machine. I'm going to do my one of my usual favourite lunchtime loops, the ride that I normally do actually when I review bikes, just because I know the road well. But unfortunately the roads are in a shocking state at the moment. I'm filming this actually on Valentine's Day, 14th of February. I think it's due to go up end of February. And the roads are in a right old state. I guess it's that, you know, end of winter thing, and they've been subject to lots of heat cycles. They start to break up a bit. Gosh, a little bit slippery there. Just felt the back slide slightly as I went over, I think, a manhole cover. Oh, there's a pothole. So yeah, so I do need to take it easy, because it could well be slippy around here. I'm already feeling the bike moving around under me, and that's in wet mode. Having said that, I do love a V-twin, as you may have seen there on my jerky pull away. It doesn't like going slowly in too high a gear. So we've established these things are ridiculously uncomfortable but brilliant. The next thing is the performance on them. What's the point of having a super performance bike on the British roads? Is there any point? Well, no, there isn't really, is the answer to that. And also, I would say this is the baby Panigale, the 899. At the time this came out, the key bike was the 1199. But even this, the baby one, I've got this fitted with the Terminioni pipes, the full titanium system, gives it a little bit of a horsepower boost. This is putting out something like 152 brake horsepower. I say that, I've never had it dynoed, so I don't know for sure, but those are the sorts of numbers I would anticipate. And let's face it, even today, 8 years on, it's not a small amount of horsepower, is it? And actually, in this sort of configuration, it is more than you need on the road. Where it comes into its own, of course, are track days, and I've had a few people ask me recently actually if I've ever thought about doing a track day. Well, yes I have, and I have done several and made videos about them on the channel as well. But if you've only subscribed in the last, or over a couple of years ago, you won't have seen them. So if I can find them, I'll stick a link in the corner to one of my track day videos. Excuse the bad editing, etc., but you know, I've learned how to make YouTube videos a bit since. But even despite the bad video, I did appreciate this bike on the track. It's where it comes alive, and you really can't tap into its performance on the road. You'd be silly to try. It looks like the beam is turning off. Good news, although I'm not going to go nuts, as I say, because these roads look very slippery to me. Didn't like it in second gear at 20 miles an hour. There we go. So despite its uncomfortableness, impracticalness, its sort of overpoweredness for the road, it is a beautiful thing to ride. The handling on it, as you'd expect, is incredible. The ride itself is pretty flipping hard. In fact, I could do with softening up the suspension. It is adjustable. I should do that one day. Take the time to actually get it set up properly for me. But in terms of the steering and so on, it just goes where you think. You don't even have to consciously make any changes on the handlebar. It just goes round where you want it. Absolutely superb. So over the years since I've had the bike, I've modified it a little bit. I've done a few what I would call tasteful changes. So I have made a few modifications on the bike over the years. I don't know if I can remember them all, but let me talk you through a few of the ones that I can remember. So to start with, on the bike overall, I've got a paint protection film on here. I don't know if you can see in the light on this edge here, there's a little line you can possibly just make out. That's where I've got one of those special paint protection films. So if ever I scratch the bike or whatever, you can just pull the paint protection film off, put another one on, and the actual paint works all right. So that was something I did very early on. Next thing to mention, I've got some carbon covers on the engine here, and I've got some R&G crash bungs. I've got some R&G bobbins at the front as well, in case of any drops, anything like that. I've got some little bits of carbon that I put on. I've got these little kick plates here. I've got a carbon shroud for the exhaust, and I've got this little carbon hugger at the back as well. This seat is the non-standard one. That's the Ducati performance seat, which is a bit of a hilarious name for it because it's not particularly comfort. The back end, this is actually the Ducati performance tail tidy as well on here. These lights aren't standard. It comes with some hideous LEDs as standard, or rather I don't think they were LEDs, just old style indicators. These are LED ones and the proper Ducati performance ones. Can you see it says that on there? So expensive, but I just think they look good. What else to say? Oh, I've got the anodised brake and clutch reservoirs as well in red. I just think they look so much better than those plastic piss pot ones that you get with the bike as standard. And then I don't know if you can see around the dash, there's also a little carbon surround there. Hopefully that's kind of tastefully done. I think that is it for the mods. Anything else I've added? No, that is it. I don't think I want to change anything else as well. I like to keep bikes looking fairly standard if I can, but all those little mods. Oh, the screen. Got a dark screen as well, which I think just looks nice with the red on the bike. Oh, and then the other thing, of course, I suppose the biggest mod is the Terminioni full titanium system on here, which is an expensive addition, but does make it sound great and does add those extra couple of horsepower. Anyway, that's the mods I've done on the bike. Welcome back aboard, where I'm just negotiating this slippery road. Some cyclists out. They obviously also saw the good weather forecast. Probably feel shortchanged. Oh, hello. Look it up here, look. The sky looks a bit bluer. It's more like it. Oh, these roads look a little bit tricky, don't they? What is the temperature out there? It's 8 degrees, so there's no ice about. But we have had some cold weather, and there has been ice and salt and stuff put on the roads. And we haven't had any rain to wash it off. There's a little chance to open up slightly. Still goes all right. Here's the gates of Chequers, Prime Minister's country home. Wow, it's slippery around here. Let's find this dry line. Just feel these tyres skipping around. Not confidence inspiring, I have to say. You do have to concentrate when you're on these things. These are not easy bikes to ride, it has to be said. Right, let's just check out the dash, see what we've got going on here. No warning lights or anything. Engine's at 70 degrees, that's all fine. Engine braking control is set to 1, which is quite low. I find on this, if you have it turned up too high, when you roll off the throttle, it's like you're applying the brakes really hard. So I tend to have the braking control turned down. Traction control's up at 8, which is obviously a high setting. That's because I've got it in wet mode. And the ABS is at 3. Which is a sort of middling setting. Oh, it's much better around here, look. Blue skies here. Going into a little dark, damp spot here though, so I won't get too overly confident. I hope the helmet camera is picking up the sound of this engine. It's unlike any other bike that I've got. It's just got that low growl. Sort of a menacing thing that means business. Love it. It makes so much difference when the sun comes out. Beautiful. I don't know, I think I'll just stop here and change the position of that 360 cam. I'm not even sure if I'm going to be using too many shots from it, but it's waggling around like a good one out the front there. Neutral's nice and easy to find, stand's easy to get down. Right, I'm just wondering where I can pop this. Don't really like mounting cameras on mirrors at the best of times. Not least because you don't want to put any clamping marks on there. Oh, where else can we pop her? There's not really many choices here, are there? Which is probably why I went for that in the first place. Just looking under here, actually, this is lovely and clean when I brought it out. Look, we've already got dirt and crap on here. I've got a cleaning job to do when I get home. And the tyres are looking pretty flipping messy as well. Not that really matters. Well, where can I mount it? We could try here. Would that be sensible? Don't want it to fall down anywhere. You've got to be very careful with these cameras. You don't want them to, you know, get loose. Stop, obviously, any part of the suspension working. And then potentially fouling the chain or whatever. Now idling, it's a little bit lumpy. Right, that's all tight. It's not going to fall down. I'm going to get my legs in there. Let's see. Just give it a little short blat with it there. See how that goes. Where's my leg going to go? Yeah, might work. Let's give it a try. Up this way. Does that work as a camera angle, I wonder? I'll only know when I get home and have a look. I do know the bracket is slightly in the way of my foot though, my ankle's touching it, so I will move it back again in a minute. So make the most of this camera angle if it's any good. Oh well, sun is out now, nice. Just looking out for dry lines on the roads though. This is a horrible little hill here, it's always slippery up here. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to bring this out on a proper dry day. You just can't stretch its legs in these sorts of conditions. Although it is lovely to refamiliarise myself with it. Right, well I think that's just about all I've got to say about riding the bike at the moment. I'm going to enjoy the ride home. I've got another 20 minutes or so to get back. And then I think I better get the bucket and sponges out and get some of that salt off. Well, that was an exhilarating little ride in the end. The sun did come out and it was lovely. The blue sky, everything else, but I wasn't filming well at that stage. Always the case. Anyway, thoroughly enjoyed the ride out on the Ducati. Hope you enjoyed that little video. I've got to get the bucket and sponges out now and get all the salt off. Try and fight my way out of this suit and yeah, I'll see you on the next video. Look forward to speaking to you then. Until then, this has been Mr. and Fly. Cheerio.